Ranking bands critics got wrong is where taste, ego, and fan loyalty start throwing chairs. This is not about which band had the nicest reviews, it is about who survived bad judgment. The standard is durability, influenced identity, fan devotion, and how badly critics underestimate the actual appeal. Some sacred cows are not number one. Popularity helps, but being misunderstood matters more. Number 10, Boston. Critics heard polish, fans heard a spaceship built out of guitar harmonies. Boston's debut arrived in 1976 and eventually went 17 times platinum in the United States. That number matters because the criticism was about sterility, while millions heard Liftoff. Tom Scholz made Boston sound less like a band chasing trends and more like a machine built for escape. The knock was that it felt too perfect, too engineered, too shiny to be dangerous. That's fair. Boston does not rank higher because the catalog argument gets thinner fast. But at number 10, they prove critics sometimes confuse precision with lack of soul. Number 9, Grand Funk Railroad. This is the fan base versus critics entry. Critics often treated them like blunt force rock, but that was also the entire point. In 1971, Grand Funk sold out Shea Stadium's 55,000 tickets in roughly 72 hours. That is not a footnote, that is fans overruling critics with their wallets. Their strength was not elegance, it was volume, directness, and a live connection that felt physical. The controversy is obvious, some listeners hear power, others hear limited range. That limitation keeps them at 9, but critics badly underestimated how much force can matter. Number 8, Styx, the band critics mocked for theatrical excess while fans heard ambition. From 1977 to 1981, Styx released 4 straight multi-platinum albums. That run is the evidence critics have to wrestle with, not brush aside. Styx could be ridiculous, that is not the insult people think it is. Their best work fused arena hooks, progressive touches, and Broadway-sized emotion before that combination had critical permission. The knock is that the drama sometimes became heavier than the songs themselves. So they land at 8, too uneven for the top tier, too inventive to dismiss. But the next entry is where the ranking gets dangerous because sincerity becomes the crime. Number 7, Journey. Critics punish them for being too emotional, too polished, and too successful. But Journey mastered something harder than critics admitted, making arena rock feel personal. Don't Stop Believin' came out in 1981, then became bigger than its own era. That matters because critics often underrate songs that become cultural muscle memory. Steve Perry's voice gave the band its identity, cutting through guitars like a neon blade. The debate is whether emotional accessibility should count as greatness or just mass appeal. Journey ranks 7th because the craft is real even when the sentiment gets enormous. Number 6, Kiss. Critics saw circus makeup, fans saw a rock and roll brand of spectacle. By 2015, the RIAA called Kiss America's #1 gold record award-winning group. That stat is hilarious if you think the band was only smoke, boots, and face paint. This is not the musicianship pick, it is the identity pick. Kiss understood that rock could be theater, merchandise, mythology, and volume all at once. The limitation is the same reason critics attacked them. The spectacle sometimes outran the songs. But pretending that spectacle did not change rock culture is the exact mistake critics made. Number 5, The Doors. Critics were not wrong to question the mythology, they were wrong to stop there. The Doors built their core legend on 6 studio albums between 1967 and 1971. That short window matters. The myth is huge because the actual catalog is concentrated. Ray Manzarek's keyboard sound, Robbie Krieger's guitar lines, and John Densmore's jazz instincts made The Danger musical. The controversy is that The Doors can feel profound one minute and theatrical fog the next. Critics could attack the myth, but the sound itself was stranger and stronger than the myth. They ranked 5th because the band had a sound nobody else could fully copy. Now, popularity and greatness start pulling in opposite directions. The top 4 are bigger arguments. Number 4, Black Sabbath. Early critics often missed that heaviness could be an art form. Their debut landed on February 13th, 1970, which feels almost too perfect for this argument. Sabbath did not just play louder, they made dread feel organized. Before Sabbath, heaviness was often treated like volume. Sabbath made it feel like atmosphere. Tony Iommi's riffs gave rock a darker vocabulary, and Ozzy Osbourne's voice made it strangely human. The debate is whether they belong higher because entire heavy genres track back to their shadow. They stop at 4 because this ranking rewards being misread across multiple dimensions, not influence alone. Number 3, Rush. This is the musicianship case fans will say should be number 1. Rush released their debut in 1974, then built one of rock's most stubborn fan armies. The numbers back up the devotion: 24 gold records and 14 platinum records in the US. Critics often treated Rush like a technical puzzle. Fans heard obsession, imagination, and total commitment. Geddy Lee, Alex Lifeson, and Neil Peart made complexity feel like a shared secret with the audience. The songs did not beg casual listeners to come closer, they rewarded the ones who did. Rush lands 3rd because critics missed the point, but the band asked listeners to meet them halfway. Number 2, Led Zeppelin. Yes, even Zeppelin belongs here. The early critical mistake was treating them as excessive blues thunder instead of a new rock language. The RIAA credits Led Zeppelin with more than 111.5 million albums awards across 19 albums. That is not just popularity, that is a catalog turning into permanent infrastructure. Jimmy Page built atmosphere, Robert Plant brought mythology, John Paul Jones added architecture, and John Bonham added earthquake. They could sound ancient, futuristic, brutal, delicate, mystical, and filthy within the same band identity. The debate is not greatness, it is whether critics were wrong long enough to deserve number 1. They rank 2nd because history corrected the mistake so completely that the argument almost disappeared. And that leaves number 1, Queen, the band critics most famously misunderstood by measuring the wrong thing. Queen were not trying to be the purest blues band, the toughest hard rock band, or the coolest critics band. At Live Aid on July 13th, 1985, Queen had about 20 minutes to prove the entire argument. The event reached an estimated 1.5 billion television viewers. Queen turned scale into intimacy. Queen's genius was that they made contradiction feel like confidence. They were building a universe where opera, metal, pop, vaudeville, balladry, and arena rock could collide. Their greatest hits later became the first album to reach 7 million UK chart sales. That is the afterlife critics did not predict, theatrical rock becoming household language. Freddie Mercury gave Queen command, but the band's secret weapon was that every member shaped the identity. Brian May's guitar sounded orchestral, Roger Taylor pushed the flash, John Deacon supplied crucial melodic muscle. They did not shrink the weirdness to fit rock, they expanded rock until the weirdness belonged. The critics heard excess, fans heard permission, be huge, weird, emotional, funny, heavy, and theatrical. That is why Queen wins. They were not merely underrated, they were miscategorized. By this standard, number 1 is not the band critics eventually praised, it is the band they least knew how to judge. Final verdict, critics got Queen wrong because they punished the very thing that made the band immortal. They treated theatrical range like a flaw, history treated it like the blueprint. So here is the fight. Should number 1 be Queen, Zeppelin, Rush, or Sabbath? And which band did critics get most wrong that deserves to kick someone out of this top 10?